Shalom, call Yahawah and Yahawashi. Shalom to the elect. I'll try to get straight to the point in this video. I happen to see a few things online. There's one video in particular. The guy, it was like a Moabite, an Ammonite. He was trying to pronounce the name of the Most High. Now, listen to how he says it. There's one thing, see, a lot of the people that so-called scholars or whatever, they don't really get into the ancient Hebrew. And the ancient Hebrew doesn't have E's in it. So let me let this video play, and then I'll pull a few precepts back in this up.
How do you pronounce YHWH when there is no vowels? To say it correctly, you don't use your tongue, and you can't close your lips. So his name imitates the natural act of breathing as you inhale and exhale. So this is how YHWH sounds like. Can you imagine the first word?
That's not what the Most High's name say. The Most High's name is Yahawah, which means He is. His son's name is Yahawashi, which means He is the deliverer. And see, a lot of these heathens, they know that. Matter of fact, let me get something real quick before I go into the apocrypha. Book of Psalms, chapter 83, verse 3, it says, they have taken crafty counsel against thy people and have consulted against thy hidden ones. Who did that? All these different nations, which I mentioned their ancient names, like Moab, Ammon, Ishmael, Elam, Amalek, Edom. They knew the power in speaking in our holy tongue and knowing our power. And that's why a lot of people, they look around and they see stuff going down like, who's gonna help us out? Don't nobody help us out. Don't nobody speak for us in certain meetings and all that. We got the Most High. He gave the blueprint. And see, a lot of people, they don't like the fact that there's certain men, they have this issue. Everybody want to be that one. They had this issue with gaining knowledge, wisdom, and understanding from certain individuals, and they just wanted to be them instead of being understanding and seeing like, okay, the Most High really does have men on this earth right now that He favors and fills them with knowledge and wisdom. Well, a lot of people hate that, so they can't grasp the fact that somebody would come to them with the correct information, but they would see an Edomite or a Moabite or Ammonite, see Ishmael, one of them, tell them something, they're going to eat it up. Not realizing this scripture right here. Verse 5 says, for they are consulted together with one consent. They are confederate against thee, the tabernacles of Edom, the Ishmaelites, Moab, the Hagarenes, the Baal and Ammon, and Amalek, the Philistines, the inhabitants of Tyre. Assur also is joined with them. They have Hopin, the children of Lot, Salah. Do unto them as the Midianites, as to Sisera, as to Jabin, and the brook of Kishon, which perished at Endor. They became as dung for the earth. And that's what's going to happen. Because they did all this shit. They tried to hide our information. They wanted to make sure we was powerless. We didn't have access to certain financial stuff. Certain stuff regarding land and different agriculture and stuff like that. Let me go to verse 4. It says, they have said, come let us cut them off for being a nation, that the name of Israel may be no more in remembrance. So just keep in mind, our people, they don't even know where they come from. So of course they're not gonna really understand and know the name of the Most High. You still have people to this day with all these videos out, all this information out. The scriptures clearly say that my people gonna call him my name. They clearly say that. What's his name? Yahawah. Everybody else still want to, well, most people want to say, I don't say everybody, most people still want to say what they want to say. Most High don't want you to do that. He gives specific instructions. And they documented it for us since way back then, and the information is still available now. And then you'll have some people that say, well, I'm going to say it how I was taught, or God know my heart. The scriptures say the heart is deceitful above all things. The heart is deceitful, and it's saying something that Esau taught you. Instead of you doing your homework, being diligent, and going to figure out, okay, what's his real name? He got to have a name that people called on. What was they saying back in ancient Rome and Greece? In those time frames before that, what language were they speaking? How were they speaking? Let me get some. Now, right here in Ecclesiasticus 1, and I'm going to just go down to this part right here. It says, wherefore let me entreat you to read it with favor and attention and pardon, for it's wherein we may seem to come short of some words which we have labored to interpret. So, we have another thing people have an issue with. Oh, it was translated. They edited, they did this and that. The reason why people like saying that shit, because when they start figuring out the scriptures go against some of that bullshit they be doing, they ain't want to have an excuse to say, oh, the white man altered that and edited that. There's a reason why things was retranslated. We were held captive at various timelines, time frames, so to speak. Rome, Greece, ancient Babylon, up into modern Babylon, Egypt. So we spoke different languages, different tongues. Our primary tongue was Hebrew. God says, for the same things other than Hebrew and translated into another tongue have not the same force in them. And Esau know this shit. That's why they we go to school, out of everything in school. Because I remember I was in high school and I questioned this. The only language they want us to really learn, English, Spanish, French. I want to say, if I'm not mistaken, it was German in there, and that Chinese shit. They never wanted us to learn our ancient language. That's another tactic that Esau like to use, man. But they're gonna pay for all that. They gotta pay for all that. The Most High setting it up right now with what's going on around the world. Let me see. Let me go to another video I got queued up. And this video is going to be some various topics on it. But the main things about edification, knowing the name of the Most High and His Son, and about spiritual power. Because that's another thing that's going to glorify the name of Yahawah. Because people are going to want to know, how are people getting healed? How do you know all this information? How are you able to do certain things, see certain things, understand certain things? It's going to be because Yahawah and Yahawashi. Now, one thing, just for edification's sake, I came across this. I was up looking at random stuff on my phone. And it's a video from 1993. And listen to what he said.
They want to enslave your child, your wife, your mother,